welcome to yet another exciting episode of Let's Talk About Sex with Mr. Sexter. As you all know, my name is Tagunda S. Chikomo, but some of you like to call me Mr. Sexter. Let's Talk About Sex with Mr. Sexter is a talk show that delves deep into the issues regarding sex and sexuality, because these are issues that are very sensitive and a lot of people do not want to talk about it. But you know me as Mr. Annihilate, nothing is not talked about, nothing is out of bounds. So today we'll be talking about homosexuality. My name is Tagunda S. Chikomo and this is your favorite talk show, Let's Talk About Sex with Mr. Sexter. Today I'm joined by Melanie Affrique, who is a lawyer in the making. So today we're going to just put her wits to the test and we will be talking on the issue of homosexuality and sex. Remember, like I said, nothing on my talk show is not talked about. Miss Melanie, thank you so much and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, I'm honored.
It's such an honor to have you. How are you and everything? I'm
alright, thank you.
So without wasting much of your time, let us get into the whole issue of sex and homosexuality. Why do you think it's so taboo for us to talk about homosexuality, yet we cannot do away with the fact that the LGBTQ community, it still exists in our community?
Yes, I agree with you that the LGBTQ community exists in our society, but because we as Zimbabweans consider ourselves as a Christian country and we use the Bible, right? So in the Bible, it is a taboo for a man and a man to be in love, and a woman and a woman to be in love also. So I think it can be very difficult for us as Zimbabweans to allow those kind of people, that community, to live amongst us. Yet we know that they exist.
Okay, it's okay. Do you in any way see a Zimbabwe where we can be able to live together, live and work together with this LGBTQI community?
Thank you very much. Firstly, I would like to quote Section 78 of our Constitution, the 2013 Constitution, Amendment number 20. On Section 78, there is an outline of the marriage rights, right? It states that for a marriage to exist, the people who are marrying, who are going to get married, should be 18 years and above, right? Yes. They should be also be a male and a female person. Indeed. Right? And they must be consent. Indeed. Right? That is what the Constitution states. And the reason why I quoted the Constitution is because it is the supreme law of the land. Indeed. Right? Looking at Section 78, we know exactly that a man and a woman are the ones who are supposed to solemnize a marriage and to get married. But of course, there are other sections. And we have a Declaration of Rights which states that there is freedom of conscience. There must be freedom of conscience. Yes, there must be freedom of what? Religion. And to me, religion is a belief. It is what you want to do. Believe, yes. Exactly. What you want to believe in, what you want to participate in. So I think we should reconsider that and say that this LGBT community, they are part of us, they are people. They have conscience. Yes, if your conscience tells you that I'm gay, you want to be a transgender, you're a lesbian, etc., etc., please go ahead and do that. And I think we foresee as Zimbabwe that is going to allow that community, because they are people, they are human beings, they have conscience. You just don't wake up one day and say, I know I want to be gay. No, it's something that lives within you. So yes, I see as Zimbabwe, that is going to take into consideration that we have the LGBTQ community.
A diverse nation.
Exactly.
But what then do you have to say to those people who say we do not accept that we are Christian, or probably our tradition does not allow for people, men and men, to be together? What then can you say to somebody who's actually seeing this and actually disagreeing with what you might have to say?
As I have already stated, people have conscience, right? You don't have to necessarily think for me. You don't have to tell me what to do in each and every one aspect.
Okay.
For example, I'm a lawyer in the making.
Indeed.
My parents or any of my friends did not have to decide that, no, you go and do law.
Indeed.
Nobody decides for you exactly. And some things, that's why I say it's something that lives within you. You are born with that. So how can we change nature?
Wow. This is going to be very difficult. I hope it won't be difficult on you. Sex. How do homosexuals, or how do people who are in the LGBTQI community go about in consent?
I'm not so sure about that, because in this Zimbabwe that we live in, people are hiding their real selves. You know what I'm saying? This LGBTQ community, they hide because they fear to be what? Prosecuted. They've got their fears of their own. Yes, because we are saying we are not allowing this in Zimbabwe. So I'm not sure how they go about it. But then in countries like South Africa that have legalized homosexuality, maybe we can inquire from that community how they do it. I'm not so sure. Yes, I might look like.
Well, that's well said. Do you think the LGBTQ community is as marginalized as any other marginalized community out there?
Thank you very much. Yes, I think they are marginalized because, as I have said earlier, they are hiding their true selves because we do not allow this kind of taboo, if I may say, in Zimbabwe. Yes, so they are very marginalized, and just as human rights lawyers or human rights activists advocate for the participation of these marginalized communities, it's the same thing that we are supposed to do to these LGBT communities. Let us engage them because they are people. How long shall they live in a shell? How long shall they live hiding? So I think in as much as they are marginalized, I am saying that let us please allow these people to live freely.
Wow, interesting. Someone once told me that you cannot be gay and poor, or you cannot be in the LGBTQ community and poor. To me, probably this meant that being gay, it comes from a privileged standpoint. So is it even possible for someone to be gay and poor? I would like to give my own examples of some of the people who've come out that they are actually in that position, the likes of Somizi, Lasiswe Jambuza. These are some of the people, Shatisha, yes. These are people who are in a position of wealth. Do you think someone out there can be poor or less privileged and still be gay?
Yes, it is very possible. As I have said, from my own perspective, I think it's inborn. You cannot just wake up one day and say that, oh no, now I want to be gay, right? So if it's something that is inborn, you may be born from a poor family, born from a rich family, but that doesn't make you, what can I say?
Queer. That doesn't make you...
Yes, we can't say just because you're poor, you can't be gay. No, there are no certain qualifications for someone to be gay or not. But in as much as we say that, I think it's also part of the show business. Because if you look at those people, yeah, the fact that they've come out gay, they are the people, maybe they're getting paid for it or whatever, for show business. Looking at Lasiswe, let's look at Shatisha. She ran away from Zimbabwe. She's in exile, right? Just because people want to persecute him or her. Can I call him he or?
I think it's better to use the pronoun him or her.
Exactly, him or her, because he's gay. But then, on the other hand, we have people who are just naturally born like that. Like whether you are poor or whether you are rich, you can just be part of the LGBT community without considering your background or what. It's not something that we can say, no, there's a class social stratification for gay people, for the LGBT community. No.
Welcome back. We're still talking about sex and homosexuality and the LGBTQ community. So, a friend of mine once told me that she no longer wants to see men. She wants to date a lady. She wants to go with the same sex. Do you think being differently sexually orientated, it comes as a result of growing up and seeing other people, or it's just something which is inborn?
Thank you very much. Firstly, I am not an expert in this, but I will say what I know. As you have said, sexual orientation, some say that sexual orientation is determined at birth, and then some say that sexual orientation is determined by the way you are nurtured.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
So looking at birth, they can be maybe defects or hormones. There's an overload of hormones, of male hormones. Maybe you're a female person, right? And then you just grow up, you're like that. And then there are some people, I've often heard some people say, for example, let me take a girl. She'll tell you that, no, so they find it better to go ahead and date a fellow white lady because they think they can understand each other. at a very personal level without conflicts or what. But it's a lie though. There is conflicts everywhere. There are conflicts. A mother and a child can have conflicts, but that is what they say. And then there are other people who tend to be homosexuals by choice, as I was saying. Some of these things is for sure business. Of course, we read that there are people who get paid. Just come out open, we pay you, and then they are living life because of that. And then we are also saying that some of these things, they are inborn, right? So we cannot really marginalize you, we cannot really persecute you for that. That is where doctors or biologists or whoever come in.
Wow. Very insightful, and this unfortunately brings us to the end of today's episode. To our viewers, tell us, what do you think, especially on the issue of sex and sexuality, especially on the issue of homosexuality? I once put up a poem on my YouTube which is entitled "Hating on the Gay Community It's Absurd," and it got a lot of criticism, both positive and negative, but still we want to talk about these issues. As I always say, my name is Sakunda S. Chikomo. Some of you like to call me Mr. Sextep. And no topic is unmentioned for me. Everything and anything, we talk about it. This is your talk show. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about sex with Mr. Sextep. Until we meet again next time, ciao. And don't forget to count your blessings and annihilate the status quo. Melanie, Affrique, thank you so much for joining us today on the show. Any words of advice, any final words to the viewers, to the community, or to people viewing and watching this show?
Thank you very much, Mr. Sakunda Chikomo. All I can say is that let's not judge these people. They are human beings, they have conscience. We are no different.
We are no gods.
Exactly, we are no gods. We did not create people. We are not the givers of life. Let them live freely.
But I want to address it as homosexuality. Right, so Nina sister want to join. I'm sister, can you Mona Lisa, please. I'm going to tell you homosexuality. That's what I'm going to teach you homosexuality.
Homosexuality is what can I say? Homosexuality is when you are attracted to your same sex. As for me, I'm attracted to girls, and maybe for you, example, you're attracted to boys, not to girls. That's homosexuality.
Okay, so what's the special feeling about same-sex attraction?
I find it funny because it's quite natural.
Can I go personal, or no mirror on this list?
Fine, just one question.
Just one question. Alright. So, have you ever tried? What is no fella say?
Yeah, I tried it. Okay. It's perfect.
Perfect. Oh, the other gender, come and try it over what I see.
Yeah, I did.
An issue between sexuality. Sikusangana nemarume vari kubhuya vasikana vakomana ende vakomana kudani vakomana unonosei
haina uye indondisotawo especially pa-FB ma-1 unoona kuma-inbox what's up my guy hafi iro rinosota nangu I don't know, maybe iwo kana vari comfortable nezvanenge vari comfortable zvavo, but inangu ndingoti no homo. Kana uri homi wangu kuchitown kunoka, no homosexuality. Hatidzidzo.
Kose.
Yes, andizvona zvangu I think celebrate nesakatoshata. Maybe ingavanzara here kana kuchitauruzvitse, but iri generally aispeti.
PaFacebook kune nyaya yehomosexuality. Amene munoinzwisisa sei?
Ini vanhu vari kuita basa rehomosexual ndakatova andiwirirane nazvo, hazvisingori right, hazvingoiti, ndicho chandanga chizvitira.
Okay.